everyone. My name is David Silverman. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Clinical Research Fastrack, and we are continuing with our podcast, Fastracked to Success. And this is where we feature remarkable, extraordinary graduates of our program, and we talk to them about what they've done and where they're going. And our special guest today is Prerana Patel. I apologize, I'm not pronouncing it right, but welcome, Prerana. It's so great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David, for this warm welcome. Hi, everyone. My name is Prerana Patel. I am currently working as a senior CTA at Core Pharmaceutical, and I am so excited to be part of this podcast series as Clinical Research Fastrack is the program that helped me launch my amazing career where I'm successful and happy. So thank you so much for having me, David.
Oh my gosh, it is so great to have you here. Why don't we start off, and why don't you remind us where we first met? You took our class back in 2019, is that right?
Yes, that would be the summer of 2019, and that's where I started my clinical research journey.
Can you tell us a little bit about what was happening before summer of 2019? What was your education? What were you doing before, and what led you to come to our program?
Yeah, sure. So I actually graduated with master's in medical integrated biotechnology back in India, and then I moved to US. I knew that I wanted to do something in medical field, but clinical research is something industry that I wanted to get into. That's where clinical research fast track came in. The prior I want to say questionnaires and learning materials and then resume creations, etc. And that's what helped kick it off. And I believe that is where how I transitioned from having a master's in biotechnology to actually being able to set my foot within the industry. I promise you, I applied a lot of places. I was confident early on that I should be able to get in, but I don't think I would have still been able to get into this industry if it was not for clinical research fast track. So you guys provided a platform to learn the industry standards, to practice those, as well as you provided us with practical hands-on training, and that has just been life-changing.
Awesome. And tell us about your very first role. What was your first job?
I believe that the place that I started was Aviva Research in California, and they actually liked the way I was prepared as a clinical research fast track student, so they hired me. I started as a clinical research coordinator there, and then I worked there for a pretty long time, and that experience took me further as a lead coordinator into BG Clinical Research.
Okay, let's talk about your career progression. So you're working as a coordinator, you're learning the ropes. How long were you in a coordinator, and then what did you do next?
I believe I was in a coordinator position for almost a year. And then COVID hit. I eventually found my way as a CPA, which is a clinical project associate within Gilead Sciences. And that has been the turning points. After crossing the river from the side to the sponsor's end, I am in love with the sponsor's end, so I have stuck with it.
Okay, so you're at Gilead, and then what did you do next?
I believe at Gilead, I stayed there for almost a year, and then I applied for Novacure, which was a medical device company, and I started as a regional CTA. After that, I moved on to, it was a permanent position, but somewhere within the 2 to 3 years within the industry, I realized that I am more of a project oriented person. So I like to take on projects, see them from start to finish, and then be done. And I'm also somebody who enjoys working with a lot of therapeutic areas. I'm not confined to one. And therefore, I started taking contractual position and I've become an independent consultant. So a lot of times what I've seen is that I would start as a CTA, but I'm also the finance person doing the budgeting, reaching out to vendor, doing vendor management. Then I am a CRA at Abbott, and then I'm also training the other colleagues who are coming in with me. And then currently I am as a senior CTA at Core.
Wow. And can you explain to us what a senior CTA does? Because a lot of people watching this podcast are thinking about these different roles that they might want to get into. What is a senior CTA?
Okay, so senior CTA is somebody who can actually does all the functions of what a CTA is capable of. I'm going to break that down in a very systemic manner. CTA at one company is not going to be same as a CTA for another company, and that I have seen. When you're applying for job positions and experiences, you have to go through the job description. A lot of times CTA would be just restricted to your administrative duties, which is meeting minutes, getting schedules right, reaching out to sites, etc. And others, I've seen CTA who takes on a little bit more responsibility, which is training the new CRAs, training the CTAs under them. You are somewhere with an associate managerial position, but you are above the CTA level and CRA level. So depending on the company structure, which can vary exponentially based on whether you are a big company, a mid-sized company, or a small company, the CTA role can vary. So think of it like this: a senior CTA will wear multiple hats if you are in a mid-sized company. So you're dealing with vendors, you're dealing with CROs, you're dealing with meeting, you're also taking meeting minutes, you're training people, you're doing the finance and the budgeting part, you're going through the site selection, closeout visits, everything. You're also doing interim monitoring and oversight of TMF, etc. Versus if you are in a bigger company or a role, you are just supervising and helping managers out with the CTAs. So it will differ, it will vary a lot depending on the company structure.
Wow, and you've mentioned a lot of different things, and you're actually using some jargon like TMF, which are things you learn about in our program. So people who are
Yes.
just applying to these jobs and they don't have the proper training, it's going to be very difficult to enter into. But once you actually understand what a trial master file is, how to work with them, and you have some hands-on, it's going to help with that transition. You have done so much in the industry. Have you worked on any drugs that have been approved or breakthrough technologies? What's exciting for you that you've worked on?
I think I have honestly worked with multiple. I've worked with diagnostics, I've worked with class 1 to class 3 medical devices, I've worked with pharmas, but I believe the most important and the exciting drug that I'm working on right now would be with my current job. It's with Core Pharma. Oh my God, I'm so proud to support studies that are focused on treating, and this is going to be an orphan drug. Obviously, it's meant for a population smaller. So basically, at Core Pharma, what we are focused on is antigen specific immunotherapy. Now, most of the immunotherapy drugs that we have seen in market are the ones that suppresses the immunosuppressants. Basically, they'll put down your immunity so that you don't have a reaction. But at Core Pharma, they are developing this novel treatment, which is designated to and designed to like retrain the immune system instead of suppressing it, which it will actually transform how autoimmune diseases are treated. And that is, I'm generally hoping that it's going to, give a long-term remission without having to undergo a broad immunosuppression for the patients. So definitely what we're doing at Core Pharma is something that's very exciting for me.
That's incredible. Retraining the immune system so it can be
Mhm.
healthy and functional
Yep,
versus attacking that is so amazing. And it's actually something, I mean, so many people suffer from autoimmune diseases. If these types of treatments are brought to market and approved, it will be life changing. Um, wow,
great.
that is very, very exciting. Um, are you ready for a lightning round of questions?
Oh, yes.
All right, all right. What would you say is your favorite moment on the job? Something that was just like, wow, that was so fun.
I believe it's going to be first patient in. So right from you start, like the entire study startup to the transition, when you have your first patient in, that's like having, oh my God, that just blows my mind every single time. That is like you finally succeeded in starting the trial and you're gonna see the end of it. So for me, it's a landmark.
Wow, that sounds great. Okay, next question. What was the most surprising moment on the job for you?
I think it's surprising is that it's never mundane. Okay, like no single day in clinical research is going to be same as yesterday. So the field is so dynamic, and I love that how every trial is unique in itself. And then you have these constant learning and growth experience. It's just never boring clinical research. That's all I can say. It's dynamic, but never boring.
I love that. I love how dynamic it is. And I hear that from everyone we work with. They say, every day is different. We're working on new protocols, new potential breakthroughs. It's exciting, and the unexpected happens all the time. So
But I love it.
I think it's fantastic. And if you're someone who enjoys that, who wants to have variety in your job and not just do the same thing every day, clinical research is a great place for you. Okay, this is a bigger question. What is the impact that you want to make working in this field?
I think I would say the same reason that I started would still apply today. My why into clinical research still applies today. So for me, it would be to help create a very efficient, inspection ready clinical operations processes. And that would instantly result in having a better way, a speed fast way of actually providing the novel treatments that we have to the patient in a safe manner. So definitely that. And I think in the long term, I do look forward to mentoring new students or somebody who's coming from non-clinical background thinking that, oh my God, this sounds too much medical, this sounds too much clinical. I promise you, I don't care if you're from IT, you're from commerce, you're from arts. Clinical research is something like if you're detail oriented, you can focus. If you love learning, this is the field for you. And that is the kind of minds that I would love to mentor.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. And Prerana, what would you say is advice that you have for someone new coming into the field? Maybe they're applying to jobs or just getting started. What advice do you have for them?
Always seek mentorship. That is just regular advice. Like whenever you go, doesn't matter whether it's your contract position or is your like private job or, it's always find a mentor at your work because they will help you grow through. It could be your senior, it could be your manager, it could be your directors. Everyone is open to mentoring. You just have to ask them, would you be my mentor for a certain period or so and so task? And they will willingly help you. And I promise you, these are the mentors who are going to see you grow. And they will also be your references when you're trying to find a new position or move up the ladder. And they will be your lifelong contacts as well. And my personal experiences, my mentors, even though if I've left the company, we still have talked. They still guide me through my career. So it's been great. Form a networking connection in your LinkedIn with your colleagues that you have passed through Clinical Research Fast Track, with your mentors, and that will allow you to develop a large skill set. It will also help you with, kind of like improving yourself over time and landing the career path that you decide is great for you.
Oh my gosh, that's great advice. You
Thank
said
you.
connect, find mentors, network. I think that's beautiful. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience? You've provided so much information, insight, and it's so great to connect after all these years. What else? Anything else you want to share?
Yes. If you are somebody who has no idea of what clinical research is, I would definitely advise you to go ahead, do a little bit of research, and go through Clinical Research Fast Track. I'm not just saying this because I'm a student here and I have passed through, but they have opened doors for me, which I don't think I would have possibly done it by myself. It would be very helpful to go with the tools and preparation that I got when I entered the field. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Do your research, get your tools before you enter the field.
Wow, Prerana Patel, now you're a consultant, you're working with sponsors on immunotherapies and potentially finding breakthrough treatments that could change people's lives forever. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much.